coach with a teleprompter. I don't think so. Honored guests, this is a great honor for me personally, but it's also a great honor for the players that I coached. First of all, thanks to Kelly, Craig, Lanny, Jeff, and the selection committee for considering me for this great honor. I go in with a bunch of really good people and some great players, and my nemesis, one of the best builders in the world, Pierre Lacroix. I feel like I'm so honored to be able to go in with this group of people, and I admired them from afar, but I got to know them through this last week, and boy, there's some really impressive people here. I'd like to thank Karina for your support, my family for your support, and my close friends that made the trip to come here. It means the world to me. I think you all recognize that. And for me, you being here is the icing, and I really, really appreciate it. I was born in Edmonton, Alberta. I lived in two communities early in my life. I lived in Otwell and I lived in Holyrood. My dad worked for Imperial Oil, and he, in the afternoons, would go and run the rink shack in both Holyrood and Otwell. And I tagged along every day. I came from school to the rink, and that's where I learned to live at the rink. I helped him pull hose, I helped scrape the ice, I helped edge the ice. I was with him every day. And it gave me a great appreciation. My dad also coached the midget and the juvenile team in both Holyrood and Otwell. And I followed him around in all of his journeys, and I really, really learned a lot. My heroes growing up were not players. They were coaches. I sat in what were supposed to be coaches' rooms that looked like broom closets in my early years. We always went on Saturdays to the Edmonton Gardens to watch the Junior B Red Wings, the Edmonton Oil Kings, the Edmonton Flyers practice. And it was the highlight of my day, a highlight of my week, to be able to go and sit in and listen to those coaches. I grew up with a class of coaches that really taught me a lot, and that included Claire Drake, George Kingston, Dave King, and my best friend, Wayne Fleming. Those gentlemen taught me so much about hockey, and later on, to my hero, Glenn Sather and John Muckler. You guys brought it to a whole other level. But what I learned working with those people was that you got to give back. And as hard as it is and as difficult it is, you got to give back. And they taught me a lot. They helped me a lot. But before anything, they said, if you're going to take this information, you got to pass it on. And I've really taken that mantra, and hopefully I've helped some coaches along the way, because these people helped me immensely. For me, the support of the communities I coached in means the world to me. I've built some great relationships in some small towns, and we've had a blast together, but that support for me was the thing that, my fuel. Feeling that from the community really helped me. I started in Sherwood Park minor hockey. I coached midget hockey for 12 years. And for me, one thing I learned very early in life as a coach, I was a really lousy manager. And I needed to find somebody that could work with me. In my first 12 years in Sherwood Park, I had Chuck Gale and Phil Clark. Those two gentlemen were managed the hockey club so I could coach and take risks. And I can't thank those two enough for giving me the chance to do what I love most. I had the backing of the board in Sherwood Park. People like Nelson McBride, Max Callahan, Ryan Mosbeck, and Bob McGill. Those folks had my back, and they allowed me to become the coach that I became, because I was able to take risks, because I knew I had the support of minor hockey behind me all the time. When I moved on to coach for a living in Kamloops in the Western Hockey League, it was a love affair with that city. I love that city, I love the people in it, but I was really, really out of my element. I was a midget coach coming to the major junior program. In 12 years coaching midget hockey, we had one fight. In my first exhibition game in Kamloops, at the 10-minute mark of the first period, there was me and the spare goalie left. And it was Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. And it was an eye-opener. The second exhibition game was a road trip. And I had coached minor hockey, and like we all know, you get in your car and you go home. Your dad or your mom drive you. If you're lucky enough to have your own car, you drive yourself back. Well, that was my only thought that I had when I came, because I didn't even know very much about the Western Hockey League. And I remember we were playing in Kelowna, and we lost. On the way out of town, I asked the bus driver to stop at the 7-Eleven. I ran in, picked up a hoagie, jumped on the bus, and I could hear murmuring in the background. Next day, front page of the newspaper. We don't know if Hitch can coach, but we know he's a hard ass. And that started the lore, because he wouldn't even feed us after we lost an exhibition game. So for me, reputation preceded me. I didn't do it on purpose, but I was naive. And what really helped me and the whole team and the city of Kamloops was bringing on Bob Brown as the general manager. Bob was the hero of the franchise. He organized the scouting, he organized everything, and he allowed me to coach. Getting me out of management was the smartest thing that they ever did in Kamloops. And Bob was the guy that led the charge in building that franchise to the esteem that it is now. My first 12 years in the National Hockey League were with Bob Gainey, Bob Clark, and Doug Armstrong, three of the best. They had my back every day. They were there for me whenever I needed help. I could bounce ideas off them, but I knew that they had my support and I had theirs. And it was a great feeling going to work every day. Doug Armstrong and I have been together for 20 years now. He's a great friend. We see the game the same way, and he means the world to me. I was able to also get really, really good advice and help from guys like Jim Neal, Scott Housen, and Peter Chiarelli. Later in my career, these gentlemen did the same thing. They let me open the gate and let me run with it. And I really, really appreciated that. You know, when you get hired as a coach, one of the things that you learn over time is that it only works if the management has your back. And by knowing that they've got your back, it really makes you feel like you can take risks and take chances. And one of the areas that I really focused on was, and I got really good advice, was hire the best people. And what I mean by that is that hiring the best people, it was people that I thought were smarter than me. And I did that with my assistant coaches, starting with Rick Wilson and Doug Jarvis, and carrying on through the rest of my career. I hired people that I wanted to challenge me every day. And they really kept me on my toes. It created great chemistry. It created open dialogue, and we became a great staff in a lot of these teams. And for me, I wanted their input, and I wanted them to have the freedom to give the input. And we were a group, not a head coach and a bunch of assistant coaches, but people working together. And the same with the training staff. And they paid off in spades for me. I really, really appreciate all the support and friendship I've got from my assistant and associate coaches. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. I believe right now that you get a do-over once in a while, and I'm going to take this do-over now, and that is about the players that played for me. I was a demanding coach, I was relentless, and I was very proud of being that. I know that may be a bad word to some people, but it's not to me. It means that I'm not afraid of the players, I'm not afraid of doing the tough stuff, and I think the players really respect and appreciate that. But I really admired the players. I was in awe of the players. I was in awe of their ability to sacrifice, their ability to commit, and buy into what I was trying to sell. And I'm a big fan of the players. I'm a big fan of what they did for me personally and how they made me look good. But more important, we've developed friendships post-playing. There's people in this room right now that I really respect and honor who are ex-players, and I really appreciate you coming in and supporting me. But it means the world to me that I was able to watch you guys and work with you guys, but your buy-in and your sacrifice, I'm in awe of. And I'm going to say this right now. I love the players. I love you guys. I think the world of you. You're something that every time I come to the rink, like I said, I feel like I'm in a special place because you guys went through the wall and we accomplished a lot of great things with a lot of good teams, but your sacrifice to me was paramount, and you did it. And there wasn't very many cases where I had hockey clubs that didn't sacrifice for each other, and it means the world to me. I wanted to just talk about a couple of things that really matter to me before I close up here. I had a young fella in 1982 that was a great hockey player, and he had problems. He had problems off the ice. And we tried everything, from driving him to practices, driving him to games, driving him to tournaments to try to keep him on line. And we couldn't. And he ended up leaving the team in February of 1983. And, I moved on, everybody moves on, and you wonder where it goes from there. I got a letter given to me 3 months ago, and the letter was written in 2016, but it got given to me 3 months ago. And that letter said that I'm married, I have a child, and I'm doing well. I've got a full-time job. And Hitch, I just want to thank you. You turned it around for me. You made me accountable. It kept coming back, and I got off the drugs, I got off the booze, and I came back, and I'm really happy with my family. And it made me think, with the players, and if you're coaching out there, they're worth it. You got to try everything you can to bring them along, because they're worth it. And this is just a perfect example for me of staying with it. We tried everything, and at the end, this person appreciated it beyond belief and turned his whole life around. And that, to me, that's coaching. And that really is an important part of what our jobs are. Last point for me is hockey's given me a great life. When I look around this room, I've got friends in this room, friends for life. People I spend the summers with, people we go on crazy junkets to far out bars to discuss hockey. And it's given me a life that I could have never imagined. It's given me friends that I can count on and hopefully can count on me. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Thanks very much.